Shalom Aleichem. I was at the oil today, and in conjunction with my Yom Holedis, I decided to add a weekly clip, a new clip, on topics of interest, to share the Torah view, to share the Chassidish view, to share the Rebbe's view. Some of these topics are rather controversial, but they must be discussed for the betterment of ourselves, our children, and our family. So today I want to talk about the issue that everyone's talking about now, the reoccurrence of a variant, the Omicron variant of the COVID vaccine related to COVID. Rabbi Say, there's a very simple answer. The answer is, of course, bitachon. But how do we trust and faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu? But how do we access it? And what do we do about it practically? The Rebbe said in 1988, Tafshin Mem Ches, the Rebbe said, when you have a question, you should ask 3 Chassidish Rabbanim in your town. For a Lubavitcher, it's a very simple script, as long as they're really willing to listen. Wherever you live, there are 3 Rabbanim, 3 rabbis, who are not just rabbis by having a paper, but actually rabbis who have studied and study and learn, and they rule, they give piskei dinim, and you ask them what to do. Should I be vaccinated? Should I not be vaccinated? When should I? How many boosters should I take? You follow the 3 Rabbanim. It's simple. If you want it to be simple, if you want it to be complicated, it can be very, very complicated. So I'm not going to tell you here the halacha is this way and the halacha is that way. We have disagreements between the Rabbanim themselves. Fine. But every community has its set of Rabbanim. Even in the general world, in the Litvish world, in the Sephardic world, in the modern Orthodox world, everyone has their Rabbanim. So the Rebbe's advice to Yidentum, to Jewish people, of all, because the Rebbe didn't just speak to Lubavitchers, is to take and go to 3 Rabbanim, 3 rabbis who give halachic renderings, present your case, and follow what they say. The overall issue, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when God Almighty brings an issue that disturbs nature, which this is an example of, points to a higher and more important lesson, and that is that we as Yidden, we as Jews, by nature we are l'mayla mehateva. We transcend nature. We are not ordinary human beings that God has blessed and graced and inserted within us a soul and a neshama. As explained in various writings, we are to begin with a different classification of people. And this is one of the issues that many people have a difficulty with today, and their argument is, we're all the same. We are not all the same. Our noses look the same, we talk the same, we smell the same, we act the same, but we are not inherently all the same. Why? Because God chose the Jewish people. You don't like it? Send an email to God. Argue with him. Do whatever you want, but that's a fact. Hashem gave us the Torah. He didn't give the Arabs the Torah. He didn't give the Christians the Torah. He gave them their laws. As the Rebbe told Elliot Lasky on a January freezing day in Brooklyn on the steps of 770, Mr. Lasky told me this himself, when he was a counter-rebellious young man growing up in a Holocaust home in Brooklyn. And he came to the Rebbe angry and he said, Rebbe, Why are Jews better than all others? We all are the same. And he nudged the Rebbe, and he wouldn't let him go. He told me he was angry. And the Rebbe said to him, a Jew connects to Hashem through his Jewish roots, a Christian through his Christian roots, a Muslim through his Muslim roots. Study the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the concise edition of the Shulchan Aruch, of the Code of Jewish Law, and put on tefillin, and God will bless you and help you. And the Rebbe went up the steps to 7 to his office, and Elliot went back home. Today, Baruch Hashem, he has a family and grandchildren, Shemet Torah mitzvahs, following in the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's normal for young people and for people today to have anger. I understand it. It's a complicated situation out there. The answer is not to drop everything. The answer is to embrace everything and to find the soul, the spirit within everything. Rabbi said, this is my short message to you, and I bless you with only goodness, kindness. Bana chayim v'zoyne revicha. And this morning, as I came out of the oil, and I took a look at the screen, the Rebbe said, without children, without bana, chayim v'zoyne will go nowhere. Health and wealth won't go anywhere. You have to have a continuation. You have to have children. Whether they be physical children or spiritual children, they have to be such children that you and your wife and you, the teacher, raise, that the children want to continue in your ways, which is the ways of Torah. So Rabbi Say, put the emphasis on the bana, as the Rebbe said in this clip that I saw when I came out. It's a lesson for each and every one of us. What are we doing as parents to ensure that our children will follow in the ways of Torah, in the ways of tzaddikim, the ways of the Rebbe, in the ways of the Gedolei Yisrael? And when they don't look at them as the problem, look at yourself as the problem. And ask yourself, are you living a life of l'mayla min hateva, transcending nature? Or are you basically conceding that you are a natural being with additional inserts? And that's the answer. When we will change and uplift ourselves to a higher plateau, to be more Yiddish, more Chassidish, more good, more kind, really, without shtick, without nonsense, our children will see it, our students will see it, and they'll want to be like us and like our teachers, and we will continue growing until we bring Mashiach b'korev mamish.